in COVID outcomes. Female-led countries have fared a lot better than their comparable male-led ones.
They've had brilliant communication skills, the ability to get across to their citizens that this is important and we need to do this properly.
Not only does this make a case for greater female leadership, but it really makes a case for just having more women around the decision-making table.
We were really surprised at the results, at how consistently it turned out that the women-led countries had fewer deaths, significantly fewer deaths, and also fewer cases.
At least partly this seems to be because of how leaders have responded to the crisis, especially at the start of the crisis. Particularly, we find that female-led countries went into lockdown more quickly and more decisively.
It is, of course, the case that women leaders tend to have a particular way of engaging with their citizens, and that might make a difference.
We feel acutely the struggle that many New Zealanders are facing, and so too do the people that I work with on a daily basis.
They also seem to have communicated the details of their strategy better and without any of the bravado that we have seen among some of the male leaders. A couple of them that really stick out are the Prime Minister of Norway, Erna Solberg, when she spoke directly to children, answering their questions on coronavirus. And speaking to children can be very daunting, but I thought she handled that really well. And also there is the oft-quoted example of Jacinda Ardern, the way she checked in with her citizens on a daily basis using Facebook Live.
Just check in with everyone, really, as we all prepare to hunker down for a few weeks.
There's also Merkel's engagement with science, where she engages with the really difficult concept of art, and she tries to explain it really well to a lay person.
Und wir haben Modellbetrachtungen gemacht, wir sind jetzt ungefähr bei diesem Reproduktionsfaktor 1, also einer steckt einen an, der natürlich auch nicht, das kann ich immer nur für eine Infektionskette sagen, ob einer einen ansteckt, das ist dann ein Mittelwert, aber es ist ungefähr einer steckt einen an. Schon wenn wir darauf kommen, dass jeder 1,1 Menschen ansteckt, dann sind wir im Oktober wieder an der Leistungsfähigkeit unseres Gesundheits.
Never in our living memory, and even our parents have never seen anything like this. So actually explaining to citizens why it's important has been really crucial. It's about inculcating trust in what our leaders are saying, and some of that is about the way the messages have come across, I think.
Women do traditionally, we know, take on the majority of the organisation at home, the emotional labour, and we do have those soft skills such as listening, collaboration, empathy, and quite often they're kind of skills that don't come into the workplace. But actually, in this situation, we have seen those female leaders using them a lot more, and they haven't been afraid to do so, and they haven't felt that they have to put those soft skills, those feminine traits to one side and kind of behave like men or ape the way that men have communicated messages.
It's time perhaps to stop asking women to be more like men and to start asking the opposite. Let male leaders learn to imbibe more of the female traits of empathy, of more communicative style of leadership.
A woman didn't lead the daily briefing for weeks and weeks. That's something that got quite a lot of criticism, and eventually Priti Patel was allowed to do it a handful of times, but not many, and really only after a public outcry. But that really demonstrated actually that the proportion of women in the cabinet here wasn't huge. And that's something we've been shining a light on in our equality check campaign at the Telegraph, which has looked at the gender lockdown gap. And that is everything from women being disproportionately affected in losing their jobs, from women being furloughed more than men, women taking on more domestic duties than men, doing the majority of homeschooling, the majority of childcare. And there have been a number of studies quickly done and rushed out during this period because that gender lockdown gap has quickly become so striking. So really that's in huge contrast to the success of these female leaders in leading their countries successfully through the crisis.